What if your mind were not a battlefield, but a garden? A living landscape where every thought you allow to take root shapes the world you experience. Most people don't realize this simple truth. Your mind is constantly growing something, either weeds of worry or seeds of wisdom. The Stoics knew this long before modern psychology. They understood that peace is not something you chase outside yourself. It's something you cultivate within. Imagine walking through a garden left unattended. The soil is fertile, but it's overrun with weeds. The flowers struggle for light. This, the Stoics would say, is what the average mind looks like, fertile but neglected. Epictetus once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He wasn't talking about control over the world, but over the garden within, the ability to choose what grows there. In your garden of thought, emotions are like weather patterns. You can't stop the rain or the storm, but you can tend the soil so that it endures and flourishes through all seasons. The Stoics didn't seek to suppress emotion, they sought to understand it. They believed that the way you interpret an event, not the event itself, creates your suffering or your serenity. A garden cannot choose the weather, but it can prepare the soil. Likewise, your mind cannot avoid challenges, but it can cultivate resilience. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In the garden of your mind, your thoughts are the seeds. Every day, you are planting something, intentionally or not. When you dwell on resentment, fear, or envy, those seeds grow into thorns that pierce your peace. When you nurture gratitude, patience, and perspective, those seeds blossom into quiet strength. Think about how easily we feed the weeds. We water them with attention, give them sunlight with repetition, and watch them take over our inner space. The Stoics remind us that attention is the gardener's tool. Wherever you place it, that's what thrives. If you want to change your emotional landscape, start by observing what you are nurturing every day. Are you giving energy to what uplifts or what drains you? Happiness, in the Stoic sense, was not a fleeting emotion but a state of harmony, a balanced ecosystem of thought. It comes not from avoiding pain, but from aligning your perception with truth. When you understand that life is not happening to you, but for you to grow through, even suffering becomes fertilizer. The Stoics taught that adversity is not punishment, it's preparation. Marcus Aurelius called it the raw material for virtue. Just as a gardener uses compost to enrich the soil, so too can you use difficulty to deepen your wisdom. There's something deeply empowering in realizing that happiness is not a gift you receive, but a garden you grow. Modern life often teaches the opposite, that happiness lies in consumption, success, or validation. But the Stoics saw happiness as an inner cultivation. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." In a world obsessed with more, the Stoic gardener chooses less, but better. He tends to what truly matters: clarity, peace, self-respect. To nurture happiness, you must first clear the ground. Pull the weeds of distorted thinking, those thoughts that say, "I'll be happy when," or "I can't handle this." The Stoics trained their minds through daily reflection, much like a gardener walks his rows each morning. They examined which thoughts helped them grow and which ones suffocated them. You can do the same by asking, is this thought helping my peace or hurting it? Even the simplest practice, pausing before reacting, can change the entire landscape of your mind. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When anger flares, instead of feeding it, you can observe it like a gardener watching a storm. The clouds will pass. The soil will recover. You remain the caretaker, not the chaos. Another powerful Stoic tool for nurturing your inner garden is gratitude. To the Stoics, gratitude was not naive optimism, but an act of perception. It was a way of seeing the abundance that already exists. When you focus on what you have instead of what's missing, you redirect the sunlight of awareness. You nourish the plants of peace. Gratitude transforms scarcity into sufficiency and brings a quiet joy that circumstance cannot offer. The Stoics also practiced visualization, not of success or wealth, but of life's impermanence. They meditated on change, loss, and death, not to become morbid, but to appreciate life more fully. Memento mori, remember you must die, was not a threat, it was a call to presence. When you accept that every moment is fleeting, every breath becomes sacred. You begin to see that happiness is not found in some distant future, but in this very moment, alive and aware. Your mind, like any garden, needs boundaries. Without them, weeds from the outside world will invade. This is why the Stoics valued discipline, not as restriction, but as protection of inner peace. Discipline is the fence around your serenity. It's saying no to unnecessary drama, no to impulsive reactions, no to self-sabotage. It's choosing what you allow to grow inside you. But discipline without compassion becomes barren soil. The Stoics understood that true wisdom is gentle. You are not meant to punish yourself for every negative thought. Instead, you learn from it, compost it, and use it to grow stronger. Self-awareness without judgment, that is the art of tending your inner world. The Stoic gardener also knows that every mind, no matter how overgrown, can be restored. No matter how chaotic your thoughts have been, the soil of consciousness is infinitely forgiving. You can always begin again. Each sunrise is a chance to plant differently, to choose patience over irritation, courage over fear, perspective over panic. In a way, happiness is not something you find. It's something that finds you when you cultivate the right conditions. The Stoics didn't promise eternal bliss. They promised stability, clarity, and peace, even amidst chaos. They knew that a well-tended mind could withstand any storm. Your peace is not fragile. It is the strength of roots buried deep in wisdom. When you tend to your inner garden with patience, awareness, and gratitude, happiness grows naturally. You don't need to force it or chase it. You only need to remove what blocks it. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In the garden of your mind, even obstacles become opportunities to bloom. When you begin to see your mind as a garden, even your struggles take on a sacred meaning. The storms that once terrified you become nourishing rain. The shadows that frightened you reveal where new growth is possible. This is the heart of Stoic wisdom. Nothing is wasted, not even pain. Everything can serve your growth if you meet it with awareness. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The Stoics saw every hardship as a chance to strengthen the soul. To them, adversity was not an interruption to peace. It was the path to peace. Just as a plant deepens its roots when the wind blows, so does your mind develop resilience when challenged. Every difficulty becomes training for the soul, shaping you into something unshakable. In the garden of your mind, perspective is sunlight. Without it, everything withers. Perspective gives warmth and meaning to every experience. It helps you remember that events themselves are neutral. It's your interpretation that colors them. The Stoics practiced the art of reframing, to look at life not through fear, but through wisdom. When something goes wrong, they ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? That shift in question turns chaos into clarity. Modern science now echoes what the Stoics knew millennia ago. The brain rewires itself according to where attention flows. Focus on worry, and the pathways of fear grow stronger. Focus on gratitude and understanding, and those neural pathways expand instead. Your attention is not passive, it's creative. You are literally sculpting your reality with every thought you entertain. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent, the conscious choice to accept or reject thoughts before they take root. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. Every time you choose not to feed anger, jealousy, or fear, you strengthen your inner authority. You declare, I decide what grows here. That is freedom, not control over life, but mastery of response. Epictetus reminded his students that external events are beyond our power, but our reactions are always within our grasp. This single truth contains the essence of Stoic happiness. You cannot stop people from judging, nor fate from turning, nor time from passing. But you can choose your inner posture toward it all. And that choice, repeated daily, creates the steady calm that no chaos can shake. In your mental garden, daily habits are the gardener's rituals. Morning reflection clears the ground. Gratitude waters the roots. Evening contemplation prunes away what no longer serves. The Stoics lived by this rhythm, each day a cycle of tending the mind. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself of human nature, that people may be selfish or rude, but that his peace need not depend on them. This was not pessimism, but preparation. By expecting life to be imperfect, he made himself unbreakable. Happiness, to the Stoic, was never about perfect conditions. It was about perfect awareness. You cannot wait for the world to be still before you cultivate peace. You must find stillness within the noise. Like a garden in the middle of a city, your mind can remain a sanctuary even when the world around you is chaotic. The noise outside only matters if you invite it in. The Stoic approach to happiness also involves deep acceptance, not resignation, but the wisdom to see that what is already is. Resistance to reality breeds suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, creates harmony. When you stop fighting the inevitable, you free your energy for what can actually grow. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. It is not just enduring what happens, but embracing it as part of your unfolding. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, becomes a seed of understanding. In that acceptance, compassion naturally arises. When you recognize that everyone else is also tending their own inner garden, some well, some poorly, you begin to judge less and empathize more. You see that anger and cruelty often come from minds overrun with weeds of pain. The Stoic doesn't respond with hatred, but with understanding. Only light can show the weeds for what they are. One of the most profound Stoic practices is journaling, a way to tend your thoughts before they harden into beliefs. Writing clears the soil of confusion. It helps you see the roots of your emotions and prune away illusion. Each word becomes an act of awareness, an acknowledgement of what grows within. The Stoics did not journal for vanity, but for transformation. The page became a mirror, and through it, they refined the soul. As your garden matures, you learn that happiness is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain grounded through them. The Stoic mind finds joy not in control, but in coherence. You can't stop the rain, but you can let it fall without fear. You can let life unfold without losing your center. And in that balance, a deeper peace arises, a peace not dependent on anything, yet present in everything. Happiness, the Stoics taught, is a quiet confidence in the unfolding of life. It's knowing that whatever comes, you will meet it with strength and clarity. It's realizing that peace is not something found after problems disappear. It's something you cultivate in the midst of them. Like a tree that grows taller through the wind, your soul expands through challenge. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. You don't have to chase happiness. You only need to stop disturbing it. It's already growing inside you, waiting for your attention. Your awareness is the sunlight. Your actions are the water. Your understanding is the soil. The garden of your mind will flourish the moment you remember that you are its caretaker. So take a moment now to look inward. What thoughts are you nurturing? What emotions are taking root? What beauty might emerge if you began tending your inner world with patience, wisdom, and love? Let me ask you, what does the garden of your mind look like today? And what would it look like if you began to care for it the way the Stoics did, with gratitude, clarity, and courage? Share your reflections in the comments. I'd love to hear how you cultivate your peace and what lessons you've learned from your own storms. Remember, happiness is not a distant destination. It's a practice, a way of seeing. You already hold the tools of transformation within you. So water the seeds of awareness, prune the weeds of fear, and watch your inner garden bloom. If this message resonated with you, Like this video and subscribe for more timeless wisdom to help you live with calm, clarity, and meaning.